Yassas, and welcome to Greek News Global. I'm John Mangos. In this bulletin, Middle East war further confuses Greece and Turkey's complex relationship. Greece opens voluntary military service for women. Varoufakis says Greek support is no more than a show. And in sport, Antetokounmpo recognised by the EU. But first, rising tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean are producing an unusual moment of cooperation between historic rivals Greece and Turkey. An Iranian drone fired toward RAF Akrotiri earlier this week has heightened security fears around Cyprus, prompting both Athens and Ankara to stress protecting the island's population. Turkey's defence ministry warned it would act against any threats to Turkish Cypriots, while confirming a Greek Air Force delegation will visit Turkey next week as part of new confidence-building talks. Greece already has fighter jets and naval vessels deployed near Cyprus, with Defence Minister Nikos Dendias saying the mission is to safeguard everyone on the island. Meanwhile, intelligence sources say a ballistic missile intercepted over Turkish airspace was actually aimed at Incirlik Air Base, raising fears the widening Iran conflict could draw NATO deeper into the crisis. Despite that collaboration, a separate war of words has erupted between Greece and Turkey over missile defences in the Aegean. Athens has firmly rejected Turkish protests over the deployment of MIM-104 Patriot batteries on the island of Karpathos, insisting the move is purely defensive as instability spreads across the Middle East. Turkey claims the Dodecanese should remain demilitarised under the Treaty of Lausanne and the Treaty of Paris. But Greece says those claims are unfounded, noting Ankara isn't even a signatory to the 1947 agreement that transferred the islands to Greek control. The Foreign Ministry says Greece's defensive posture is non-negotiable, warning regional stability requires restraint, not escalating rhetoric. For the first time, women in Greece are being invited to volunteer for service in the Hellenic Army. The Hellenic Army General Staff has released a new video campaign titled "Responsibility for the Homeland Also Concerns Me," calling on women aged between 20 to 26 to apply by March 31 through the Army's website. Successful applicants will serve a 12-month term working across a range of Army units and departments, with some also eligible to train as reserve officers. While women have previously served in specialised roles and officer positions, this marks the first time Greece has opened voluntary enlistment for women in regular Army units, a move the military says aims to broaden participation in national defence. Former Greek Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis has dismissed claims that the recent attack by Iran on the British Akrotiri base was an attack on Cyprus. Speaking on the latest episode of the Ouzo Talk podcast, Varoufakis reminded that Akrotiri is British sovereign territory before going on to label the sending of Greek and French frigates and aircraft as nothing more than a show for a domestic audience.
Akrotiri is not Cyprus.
Okay.
You remember that Akrotiri in 1960-61 was British sovereign territory. Macron and Mitsotakis are simply sending these ships in order to present themselves as strongmen domestically. It's domestic politics. We shouldn't, buy that lie.
A heated exchange in the Greek parliament has sparked controversy after the leader of right-wing Greek Solution Party launched a personal attack on the US ambassador to Greece. During a fiery speech on American military strikes in Iran, Kyriakos Velopoulos claimed the conflict was driven purely by oil interests, arguing the US was trying to cut off China's energy supply. But the address took a sharp turn when Velopoulos mocked Ambassador Kimberly Guilfoyle with a crude pun on her name, attempting to belittle her role as a diplomat. The remarks triggered immediate backlash from MPs and journalists who condemned the language as vulgar and well outside parliamentary decorum.
Εδώ και μας είπαν οι Αμερικανοί, η κυρία Μιλφόλη, πώς λέγεται αυτή η κυρία του κυρίου Αργυρού, κολλητή φίλη.
Greece has signalled it would explore whether nuclear options, and specifically small nuclear reactors known as SMRs, can play a role in the Greek energy mix. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis foreshadowed the strategic shift during his address to the second Nuclear Energy Summit in Paris. The summit brings together representatives of 41 different nations and international organisations. SMRs represent a significant evolution in nuclear power technology. They're designed to leave a smaller footprint and typically generate 300 megawatts of electricity. Instead of taking decades of on-site construction, the modular means the components are prefabricated and shipped to the site for assembly. They're safer, more flexible and easier to deploy in diverse geographic locations. Prime Minister Mitsotakis says while Greece has no plans for full-scale nuclear, it is pro-nuclear, and he expressed a desire to be an active participant in broader European dialogue regarding the future of the technology. Greeks living abroad will soon be able to vote by mail in national elections after the Greek Parliament approved sweeping changes to expatriate voting laws. The legislation secured the backing of more than 200 lawmakers, allowing members of the Greek diaspora from Melbourne to Toronto to cast their ballots through postal voting for the first time. The vote fell short of the required two-thirds majority, meaning the vote won't take effect until the election after the next national poll. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis hailed the reform as a long overdue step, saying it strengthens the bond between Greece and Hellenism across the globe, and ensures Greeks abroad have an equal voice in the country's democratic future. The era of the free bank account is officially ending in Greece, as major lenders, including the National Bank, Alpha Bank and Eurobank, have begun implementing monthly maintenance fees. This move represents a fundamental shift in the Greek financial landscape. While the UK has long maintained a culture of free banking, Greece is increasingly aligning itself with the US and other Eurozone markets, where monthly maintenance fees for bricks and mortar accounts have become standard practice. Ironically, government intervention accelerated the move. When the Greek government recently mandated that banks eliminate unfair fees like ATM withdrawal charges between banks or excessive transfer costs, it cut off a revenue stream. In response, the banks have repackaged their pricing by introducing low monthly fees, thereby creating a regulated revenue structure to replace the ad hoc fees the government restricted. A South Australian election debate has taken a colourful turn, with a Greek word now at the centre of a political storm. SA Best leader Connie Bonaros sparked widespread reaction after calling One Nation candidate Cory Bernardi a malaka during a heated exchange about his past comments on same-sex marriage and Muslims. Bonaros told the debate there's a special Greek word for people who spread hateful views, and said Bernardi could look it up in the Greek dictionary if he didn't know what it meant. The blunt Greek insult quickly grabbed attention online, adding an extra sting to an already fiery campaign clash.
Can I start by saying this? There is a special Greek word for people like Cory Bernardi and the repugnant and vile views that he has shared, and that word is malaka. And if he doesn't know what that means, he should go and find himself a Greek dictionary.
St Basil's in the Melbourne suburb of Fawkner has been fined $150,000 for failing to provide a safe working environment during the COVID-19 outbreak, which killed 45 residents and infected 45 staff members. Families of the aged care residents who died when COVID-19 swept through the facility in 2020 say they are disappointed the company has only been fined. Victoria's County Court found St Basil's failed to provide adequate training to staff after 5 staff members were found to have not been formally taught how to put on and take off personal protective equipment. The last surviving Anzac veteran of the Battle of Crete has died at the age of 103. Leslie Cook was born in England and raised on a dairy farm in Victoria. He enlisted in the army at just 17 and served as a signaller with the 2nd 14th Battalion. Cook fought alongside Greek, Australian and New Zealand troops during the fierce 1941 battle on Crete, before continuing his wartime service in North Africa, Syria, New Guinea and Japan. He later spent decades working in the Australian Public Service and was widely respected in the Greek-Australian community as a living symbol of the wartime bond between Greece and Australia. Greece's film and television industry is getting a boost from one of the world's biggest streaming giants. The Hellenic Film and Audiovisual Centre, Creative Greece, known as Ecomed, has signed a new memorandum of understanding with Netflix, aimed at strengthening the country's creative sector. Under the deal, selected Greek screenwriters and directors will gain access to Netflix's global digital training platform, featuring tutorials, industry insights, and exclusive sessions with leading international showrunners. Greek officials say the partnership will help local talent sharpen their skills, connect with global industry leaders, and boost Greece's competitiveness in film and television production. The agreement could also pave the way for further joint initiatives designed to support and promote Greek creators on the international stage. There's been a growing demand among people of Greek heritage around the world seeking to obtain Greek citizenship. According to the diaspora publication Neos Kosmos, hundreds of inquiries have been received from second and third generation Greeks living overseas who are looking to formalise their ancestral connection with Greece. Many applicants say their motivation goes beyond access to a European passport. For them, it's also about reconnecting with family history, culture and language, and strengthening ties with the country their parents or grandparents left behind. Officials say interest in citizenship has been steadily increasing in recent years, reflecting a broader trend among diaspora communities wanting to maintain closer links with their ancestral homeland. Greek singer Konstantinos Argyros has drawn a huge crowd in the United States after performing at a major concert in Chicago, one of the centres of the Greek-American community. The event attracted thousands of fans and members of the Greek diaspora, highlighting the enduring cultural ties between Greeks abroad and the music scene in Greece. Organisers say the concert was among the biggest Greek cultural gatherings in the city in recent years, bringing together Greek Americans from across the Midwest. Chicago is home to one of the largest Greek populations in the United States, and events like this continue to play an important role in maintaining cultural identity among younger generations of the diaspora. Turning to sport now, and Greek NBA superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo has been awarded the European Order of Merit in recognition of his contributions to sport, culture and philanthropy. The award honours Giannis not just for his achievements on the basketball court, but also for his role as a global ambassador for Greece and the wider European sporting community. Fans and members of the Greek diaspora around the world have celebrated the recognition, highlighting the pride they feel in seeing one of their own recognised on such a prestigious stage. Giannis continues to inspire young athletes both in Greece and abroad, proving that sporting excellence can have an impact far beyond the game itself. And we close this week with a story bound to enrage our Italian friends. It was the ancient Greeks, not the Italians, who invented pasta. And that's according to an esteemed Italian food historian, Giorgio Franchetti, who says the ancient Greeks flattened dough and cut it into thin slices as early as the 10th century BC. In his new book, Dining with the Ancient Romans, Marchetti challenges the long-standing myth that pasta was introduced to Italy in 1300 BC by Venetian merchant Marco Polo, who also travelled to China. While Marco Polo described noodles inspired by Chinese cuisine, there's a crucial difference. Chinese noodles were made from rice rather than from wheat. The earliest mentions of pasta-like food come from ancient Greece around 1000 BC and was called laganon, a flat sheet of dough cut into strips. The Greek laganon was incorporated into Roman cuisine under the Latinized name laganae. Maybe our papoudes have been right all along. Yep, the Greeks did invent everything. And that's it for this edition of Greek News Global, recorded on the 12th of March 2026. I'm John Mangos. Gya σας και να είστε καλά.